Hi, I'm Nick Palmisciano.
And I'm Matt Finney.
And this is the Bad News Network, 4th of July edition. It's 4th of July weekend, and all I want you to do just for one godforsaken 72-hour period is have fun. Have a good damn time. Because 245 years ago, there were dudes wandering around in the woods, eating their own shoe leather to stay alive because Congress wasn't taking appropriate action and the people of New York wouldn't share their food with the Continental Army. That's right. New Yorkers were bastards even then. Not like the cultured Bostonians. Anyway, despite all of that, America weathered the storm and pushed off the Brits and started the greatest democratic experiment ever. An experiment that has generated more opportunity, more wealth, and more improvements to the world than any other nation. It's not perfect, and we can always get better, but man, do we have a good gig. And I'm not saying this as someone that's lived in the same town their whole life. I've been to 48 states, 51 countries, and I've spent 20% of my life overseas. Folks, this is a good place, with good people, generous people, helpful people, industrious people, hardworking people. So for one weekend, just one, let's appreciate this grand experiment of ours. So here's 10 reasons why America is f***ing awesome. Number 10, food. We have so much damn food from so many damn places that it's mind-blowing. You want great Italian? There's 5 joints you can get to with genuine Italian cuisine within a few miles. You're a barbarian? There's Olive Garden. Sushi, French, German, the best steaks that exist anywhere. There's nowhere you'll ever go that is just so full of every delicacy on earth like America. Hell, we even create our own stuff and name it after other countries. This Chinese food is just too exotic. What say we fry some noodles, beef, chicken, and shrimp together, douse it in soy sauce and MSG, and call it Chinese food? Deal. Number 9, hot dogs. The original Coney Island hot dog was created right here in the US of A by Charles Feltman in 1867. I recommend mustard, onions, chili sauce, and a hint of celery salt, but you do you. Number 8, football. We watched soccer, we thought it was weak, so we created a game where we basically smash each other over and over again. Never touch the ball with our feet unless you're the weakest guy on the field, and took soccer's name and renamed it soccer. That's baller, pun intended. Number 7, we went to the moon. Do you realize that is still crazy that we went to the moon? JFK was like, let's go to the moon. And we were like, hear me out. Let's put a tin cup on the top of a tube of explosives that will get these dudes up to 25,000 miles an hour. Then they'll spin around the moon, drop a frog-shaped thing on it, then hop off, get back in the tin cup, and head home splashing down in the water. Oh, and we'll do it all with calculators and paper computations because computers don't really exist. And that shit worked. Yeah. Number 6, Betty White. Legend. And a total gagilf. Number 5, big trucks. No one owns a little truck. No one owns a 2-wheel drive truck. And it's not like these people are off-roading. My wife, who is a Brit, recently bought a truck. I was surprised she wanted one. She came back with a Z71 racing package, over-the-top ridiculous vehicle. I asked her why she got this instead of like a Mini Cooper or something. She said, I didn't move to America to get a girly car. You're goddamn right she didn't! Number 4, voting. We take it for granted as shown by how many Americans don't vote, but so many oppressed people around the world are fighting for this right. And if you're a Democrat, you get to vote multiple times in the same election. I know, that was below the belt. Don't worry, if you're a Republican, you get to pick your voters out so that you get elected even if your district looks like Medusa's head. Anyway, your voice matters here, even if you're a total dumb shit, which is a lot of you. But that's still pretty damn cool. Number 3, Dwayne Johnson, that multicultural ball of muscle. We all love Dwayne Johnson so much that despite him being a truly terrible actor, we go to every one of his movies, drink his tequila, and are always wondering if we can smell what he's cooking. I even bought Baywatch for f***'s sake. Number 2, our military. Yeah, it's the most powerful one in the world. Yeah, we have MOABs. But the coolest thing about it is that for 245 years, a cross-section of American citizens have stood up and volunteered to serve under Old Glory and keep our nation safe. And for most of that time, we've not fought in wars of conquest, but of liberation. Regardless of what the politicians have asked, we've tried to hold ourselves to a much higher standard, and we've tried to always do the right thing. And finally, number one, the New England Patriots. Excellence, discipline, team above self, rings for days. Is there anything more patriotic and American? I don't think so.
The Pacific Northwest, Canada, and the Northeast have all been hit by a brutal heat wave this week. Washington has reported temperatures up to 106 degrees, and Canada stated that it recorded 116 degrees, just a degree shy of the Nevada desert. Scientists have explained that a northward buckle in the jet stream caused by an omega blocking pattern combined with a high pressure area created sinking air from the mountains, coupled with cloudless skies, which led to unrelenting sunshine that baked all of the former, may have caused these temperature spikes. That and global warming. It looks like foreshadowing to us being totally f***ed, but that's just my hot take.
Former Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld passed away this week at the age of 88. Over the course of his long career, Rumsfeld served under 4 presidents and is largely responsible for the Iraq invasion. At the end of his career, he fell under heavy criticism, most notably for going after Saddam Hussein under the auspices that he was harboring weapons of mass destruction, which turned out to be false. Former President Bush said Wednesday in a statement that he mourned an exemplary public servant and a good man. Rumsfeld passed away at his home in Taos, New Mexico on Tuesday. Fair wind, sir. And for those of you, which I fully admit are many, that don't like him and are still very upset about the comments around body armor and going to war with the army that you have, not with the one that you wanted, while thousands of Americans were dying, still fair winds, because we are decent people and we're not going to make this about that.
18 people were killed and at least 150 are missing after a Miami condo partially collapsed this week. The media has been in a frenzy as engineers have come forward and stated that they had submitted warnings that the building was structurally unsound. Warnings that reportedly went unheeded. Still, investigators are working to determine exactly what caused the building's collapse. Political pundits have their own theories, as some have determined that it was due to climate change, and that the only solution is to pass Biden's infrastructure bills. These people then went home and ate a bowl of paint chips. Whatever the political or cosmic cause that the mainstream media might be throwing out there are bodies yet to be uncovered underneath the rubble, and we at BNN will report more on this as it unfolds.
Joe Biden outlined his plan to tackle gun violence this week by mocking Second Amendment advocates, saying that if they want to take on the government, they would need F-15s and nukes. Never mind that nobody's really flying F-15s anymore, but I digress. He then brushed us up on some little to unknown history, saying that from the day the Second Amendment was written, there have always been limits on what types of weapons people could buy. He insisted, as he did back in May 2020, that no one was allowed to buy a cannon. Sadly and expectedly, many historians have refuted that fact, saying of course they could buy cannons. Many private citizens owned entire ships absolutely bristling with cannons. Another historian was quoted saying, "Are we really still doing this year after year after year with the Democrats who seemingly know nothing about guns, military history, or for that matter, the history of the United States?" Currently, Biden's plan is to go after any gun shops that are illegally selling guns to people who legally can't own them and whisper aggressively at them. It's both groundbreaking and profound. And in totally related news, internet searches for the purchase of F-15s, nukes, and even cannons have skyrocketed. And if anyone's got a hookup, holler at your boy.
Olympic hopeful Gwen Berry took bronze at the U.S. Olympic trials this week. While standing on the podium awaiting the medal ceremony, the Star-Spangled Banner was played, and Berry turned her back. She stated later that she was surprised that it was played and felt it was a setup. Berry, who has marked herself as an athlete activist, also commented that the playing of the Star-Spangled Banner was disrespectful. The only story here is that Gwen Berry placed third in the hammer throw, but first in raging narcissism.
A venomous African zebra cobra was on the loose this week in North Carolina around our whereabouts. Personally, I feared for my life. Before you even ask, it wasn't our fault. Apparently, a local kid owns a ton of exotic and poisonous snakes. Why, we don't really know. In the local area of Raleigh, North Carolina. It's legal for you to own these, though, as long as they're kept in escape-proof habitats. This, as it seems, was not the case for this particular snake. This African zebra cobra allegedly managed to burrow through one of the walls of his containment cell. The hole went unnoticed by his keeper as it was hidden behind a poster of Rita Hayworth. After making its way through the sewage pipes, which it broke open with a rock, it slithered loose amongst an unsuspecting community. Police have reported that it has in fact been captured after a large-scale snake hunt. It's not yet clear whether or not it will be returned to the owner or sent back to Africa. We, however, like to believe that the snake made its way down to Mexico, maybe even opened up a little Vespa shop and is enjoying a nice snakeation.
In other celebrity news, something is going on that has Britney Spears' name in the news, but we honestly have no idea why, and we don't care.
The effort to recall California Governor Gavin Newsom has some added drama to it this week. Democrats are pushing to change the process of how the recall works, this time by eliminating processes that they put in place back in 2018, the last time one of their peeps got ousted. State Senator Josh Newman was voted out even after the Democrats made alterations to prolong the process, hoping to buy time to motivate voters. Now they're trying to eliminate those alterations to speed things up in the hopes that the recent relaxing of pandemic lockdowns will bode favorably for Newsom. Recall experts, however, think that this is going to look shady as f***. No shit. It's still not as bad as Governor Northam from Virginia, but it's the same old bullshit. On top of that, Newsom has garnered financial support from wealthy CEOs from the likes of Google, Netflix, Apple, in his defense against being recalled. That alone should send up massive red flags and galvanize voters to say, F this guy in particular. But this is California we're talking about here. But why talk about it at all when we could just move to Texas?
Have you ever wondered who would win in a fight between a black hole and a neutron star? Me too, like all the time. This week, scientists got the answer we have all been looking for. And the winner is the black hole. Scientists this week witnessed a neutron star swallowed up by a black hole in space. To recap, a neutron star is the corpse of a star that died. It has nearly 2 times the density of our sun, packed into the size of a star roughly 6 miles in diameter. So basically, for the black hole, a bite-sized billion-ton ball of matter. The scientists observing the event said that they got to witness the last 500 orbits. When it was finally swallowed, in its last seconds, there was a burst of light that they say was comparable to all visible light in the universe, and then it was gone. That's some crazy shit. When you stop and think about it, with all our daily gripes and complaints, when the possibility is out there that we could just be swallowed by a black hole in an instant, holy shit.
In a shocking twist of events this week, Bill Cosby's going to be getting his pudding pops. He's been released from prison and has gone home after a Pennsylvania high court overturned his conviction. Basically, prosecutor Bruce Castor back in 2005 made a deal with Cosby's attorneys that he wouldn't be tried with criminal charges if he testified and then could not be charged thereafter. In Cosby's testimony, he admitted to giving sedatives to women that he then sexually assaulted, even though he claimed the interactions were consensual, because of course, you typically give sedatives to women that you're about to have consensual sex with. This was, in large part, the basis for his conviction in 2015. So the Pennsylvania Supreme Court said that this basically violated Cosby's due process, and the only remedy was to let him go free from jail. My God! In other Olympic news, Sha'Carri Richardson, the blistering fast American sprinter, is likely out of the Olympics due to a 1-month suspension for having marijuana in her system. A lot of people are outraged about this, saying that it's not fair, but it is important to note that these rules aren't arbitrary. A world body sets the parameters for what is and is not acceptable, and USADA is supposed to execute those rules on behalf of the United States. I don't think this is a situation of racism as some have implied. The rule may be dumb and the Olympics perhaps should reconsider it, but also no one forced her to smoke pot when she knew the potential cheer consequences of her cheer actions. The swim cap fiasco, where the Olympic Committee has banned larger swim caps to accommodate natural black hair, that, however, is super racist. Holy hell, is that racist? And finally, in Florida Man news, Florida man Nicholas Balboa, the less successful brother of famed boxer Rocky Balboa, was walking his dog when he heard what he thought was a storm rolling in. That storm, as it turned out, was the Miami condo building collapsing. After what Balboa described as an unusual quiet, he heard the cries of a young boy. Balboa sprung into action and found a boy trapped underneath a pile of the building's rubble. The boy, he stated, was crying out, "Can anyone see me?" When Balboa found him, he asked Balboa not to leave him. Balboa stayed with the boy until first responders arrived, and after contending with the debris, they were able to safely remove the kid from the rocky rubble. The boy survived with minor injuries. However, the boy's mother, although recovered, later died in the hospital. When asked what he thought happened to the building, Balboa responded, "It's not how many times you get knocked down, but how many times you can build back up." We're told the reporter then allegedly slapped this man. But to Nicholas Balboa, a Florida man who acted in a young boy's moment of need, we salute you, sir. That's right, folks, you heard it here first. We're giving Florida man his due this week. Well done. And with that, I'm Nick Palmisano.
And I'm Matt Finney.
And this is the Bad News Network. Our news is at least as bad as the news you're getting already, and have a happy 4th of July weekend, everybody.
And don't forget to check out our OnlyFans, Nick and Matt.
And if you're a veteran thinking about putting a sign in your lawn that says, "Don't do any fireworks because a combat veteran lives here," shut the f*** up. As always, you can get 25% off rangerup.com when you use the code BNN. Have a great weekend.